Welcome to the Color of Influence podcast, where you will hear conversations from influential people of color from around the world, from social media, and right here in your communities. These behind-the-scenes conversations will motivate you, inspire you, and encourage you. I am your host, Aisha Morgan, and let's meet today's guest. On today's episode, I get to sit down with Tysen Knight, a pop urban artist in California. Tysen was born in New Jersey, and I actually went to college with his sister. We were teammates at U of H on the track team, and it has been my pleasure to watch him evolve not only as an artist, but also as a documentarian. And today we're going to find out all about his art and his documentaries and where he wants to go from here. So without further ado, here's my conversation with Tysen Knight. All right, so welcome back to the podcast. We have a very special guest that I've known for a long time and had no idea he was such an amazing artist. So it has been amazing to watch him over the past couple of years really get into his art. So Tysen Knight, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, and then we're going to get right into our conversation.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on your podcast. You're doing beautiful things with this podcast. So I thought it was very important to support. It's very important that we support each other in what we do.
Thank you.
My name is Tysen Knight. I am an artist and a mentor. I'm currently living in Palm Springs, California. I'm originally from New Jersey. It's been a journey for me just being able to manifest my art and get it out there, and people appreciate it and get embraced and be able to line up my art with my purpose. So I think that's very important. So yeah, that's me.
Awesome. So now you got to walk us through, how did you get started in the art scene? Because it wasn't your original goal, right? Like you weren't doing this originally, and then it kind of just happened over time. So tell us how you got started.
Yeah, well, basically, I've always been like artistic ever since I was a kid. What happened was I became a barber for a long part of my life. For about 15 years, I was a barber. So that kind of was an art form as well.
Mm-hmm.
Once I moved to California, I did some modeling, some acting, and then I kind of picked up my art again, and just kind of was just, trying to get it to fit somewhere and get people to look at it. But I just focused on it and at one point, I was at home. I think it was in 2016, and I was home just watching like Netflix and watching all these like really cool like art documentaries. Because I love all these certain artists, right? Like Basquiat, Haring, Warhol, Picasso. So I was just like constantly watching these art documentaries and just trying to learn as much as I can about how these artists got started and what their inspiration was, because they were my inspiration. So I got this wild idea that I was going to produce a art documentary. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I said, you know what, I'm going to create my own art documentary, and I'm going to showcase me and other artists and try to give us a platform to be noticed. Because I tried it with my art at first, and it wasn't really catching on. People liked it, but they didn't know how to place it. It was different.
Yeah.
Kind of like pop art, urban art, fine art, and like abstract art. So it kind of wasn't finding its place. And I said, I'm going to do this documentary. So I would go to work as a barber and cut hair from like 12-hour days.
Mm-hmm.
And on my weekends, I would produce this film. I would go up to LA, go all these different places. And it took me about 9 months to get this whole thing done. And I got it done, and then it's called the Art of Hustle Street Art Documentary, right? So I actually got it done. I started in 16, the production of it, finally got it wrapped up in 17, put it into post-production, found an editor. He helped me storyboard it. We edited the film. Then I started submitting it to film festivals all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it got accepted to a street art festival in France. I went there for that. And then it won an award in Oregon for the best film, for the feature film, for the whole festival. And then after that, I got it screened in Palm Springs at an American Documentary Film Festival. So someone, it was the art commissioner for Palm Springs, saw this film and had an idea that they were working on this project for the city. And he was like, you know what, this would be the perfect artist for this project. So, and then I went to the Street Bench Project, which, you know, just took my career to a whole nother level. Like that just shot me off into the stratosphere. So basically what happened, it wasn't really my art that really got me going. It was the film about my art.
Yeah.
That made people say, okay, this is a cool film. Let's look at his art. And then it was like, wow, okay, well, we know how to place it now. Based off looking at his documentary, we get it. So I had to kind of lay it out for everybody to see. Like I had to kind of lay out these crumbs. Like, okay, come on over here.
The blueprint. Yeah.
So that's how that came about. And then from there, I went from doing the Palm Springs bench project downtown, doing all these colorful benches. I was able to put Basquiat and Keith Haring and all these different, Andy Warhol and all these different artists in 2019. And then from there, I started doing art mentoring. And he's like, you know what, Tysen, you'll be the perfect person to come into the schools and deal with our at-risk youth and through art. So then that's how everything got going. Then my name started going that direction. And then I started getting, calls from Miami and all these other places to put my art in shows and Art Basel. And then I started getting press. And then it was just kind of this amazing journey that started from this one film.
Yeah.
So that's how my started, from being a kid, being a barber for a long part of my life, and then transitioning to the art where I'm at now currently in my life, in my career.
So talk to me a little bit about the film. Like, how did you go about finding your artist? What was the film about?
Well, so the film was about street art, right? And how that process works and how street artists started to get really known and start to get accepted into the galleries. I mean, you have all these artists now that's making mega money and super successful, and they started out as street artists. So it was this genre of art that caught on in the art world, because the art world is a very small niche community. Like people at top control the art market, so they let the street artists in. So basically, this film, I wanted to highlight my journey as an artist and highlight other artists. So how I found all the artists was pretty amazing, because I think everything was kind of lining up for me for this thing to manifest.
Yeah.
So I put an ad on this, right? Looking for artists, I did everything by word of mouth. Also, the barbershop came in very handy. And in a barbershop, like, you meet all walks of life. I mean, everybody need a haircut. I mean, everybody. So that was a real cool place to network. That's why I found my cinematographer. I found him through the barbershop, and then I found my website designer through the barbershop. Like I said, and I put all these things together, and then it started to roll. So I met another artist who was a graffiti artist and a tattoo artist. He lived here in the Palm Springs area. He was on there. Then I met a young lady from Long Beach. She through Craigslist, and she got on the film. And then it kind of went there. Then once people saw that, it was like, wow, this thing is kind of going somewhere. Sometimes you gotta manifest some things for yourself, and people have to see your vision, and then people add on to it, and then they'll help you, add forward. So that's how the film came about, and that's how I found every individual, except for a homeless artist who I featured too. I found him just being downtown Palm Springs and seeing him selling his art on the little bench there, and I was like, I can add him into this film. I think he'll be a really key part to this film, because then it's showing you from the struggles of a normal artist and struggles of a homeless artist, bringing that full circle, right? So I thought that would be really cool, and I'm glad that I included him in this film, because I was able to do another film based off him after that first documentary. Then I doubled back and did the homeless street art documentary. Then I was able to get that same process. People added on. I was able to get another homeless artist there, and then it just added on. Then I got with Street Life Project, and then they got involved to take the funds from this film to help house homeless people. So it just really, it started from just a small plan and having the determination to focus, and then everything kind of lined up for me for everything to fall into place. And both films actually won awards.
Oh,
so I think that's pretty cool.
So where can we check them out?
Right now on my YouTube channel, I have all the films there now. So anybody can check them out. And
okay.
they like what they see, like it, leave a comment. If they don't like it, they don't have to comment. Whatever, you know how to the internet, right? So yeah, it's there for anybody to enjoy if they want to see it. And I welcome people to look at it. And if you get inspired by it, I think my job is done.
Awesome. So, and I'll have links to both videos in our notes and our show notes, so y'all can easily find both documentaries. Now, you talked about the bench project. Explain a little bit of that to us.
Okay, so so the city was going to spend, I think it was like $500,000, $500,000 to replace all the benches downtown that people sit on, right?
Okay.
So the art commission came up with an idea. Why don't we just hire artists to paint those instead of replace them? So it'd be, it would be significantly less than the $500,000 budget to replace every single street bench downtown.
Right.
And that's when the art commissioner saw me at my film. They saw me in the film and was like, I want to get this guy. I like his work. Let's go with him. So it was a test pilot project in 2019. So the art commission got this thing approved through city council. And he was like, okay, we'll do a test pilot project. We'll bring in one artist. We'll let him do 12 of them in 2019. If the public likes it and everything's good, then we'll green light the rest of I think it was about 60 to 70 more benches that was left after the 12. So that was a lot of pressure on me to do this, right? So
yeah.
I had to learn everything. I had to learn the sanding, because I had so much paint from the city just coming by and just kind of, every time they get worn down, they would just come put this paint back over it, right? So it was like these layers and layers. I had to sand and primer and then sketch and do, it was this process, right? But I learned so much, and it helped my career so much. Also, I had to do these middle of the summer in Palm Springs. I don't know if you know how hot it is in Palm Springs in the middle of the summer. It's triple digits every day.
So yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
So it was like, I think the day I started, it was like 123 degrees out there, right? So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna focus and I'm gonna get this done. So I learned everything about it: the right paint, the right heat resistant paint, and the right gloss to put over it and sealant. So when people sit, spill ice cream or whatever have you on it, it would last. So I got that done. So they let them sit. 19, then obviously the pandemic happened, right? 20, so everything was on hold. But in the middle of the pandemic, the city was like, hey, we got a really, really great response from what Tysen did. We're going to greenlight the rest of them. We're going to put some money in the pockets of some artists, because everybody was kind of going through it, right? Like everybody was struggling, especially independent contractors were really going through it, right? So it was just a perfect storm, like pandemic, artists need to work. Okay, the city said, let's do it. And throughout the middle of the pandemic, I was they brought me back in because I knew all the techniques. I learned everything from trial and error. And they said, we want you to teach the other artists what you did to make this project a success, and we'll pay you to do that. Oh, so I managed I managed about maybe 30 artists or so. I may be off a little bit, 30 artists or so. We did about 50 to 60 of them. Okay. More of the we did them at City Hall, at the Palm Springs Airport, at the Convention Center, and obviously all the way downtown to the end of downtown. So all different styles of artists, and it was just like an incredible experience. So I'm glad that I was able to spearhead that and create other opportunities for other artists, right?
Yeah.
Through that project.
That's amazing. So since you did that and you won awards for your documentaries, you've been to Art Basel, you've been to all these different things, how has it changed you as an artist? Or is it kind of more like giving you more confidence?
It's a funny thing. I always had confidence in my art. I think what changed me, just as an individual, just understanding my purpose, that gave me like very great sense of understanding and humility, right? So if anything, I changed more of a human being and just was able to see things from different lenses. Like wow, like these experiences that I got to see going to France and going to Miami and going to these places and really opening up my eyes and opening up my world, my understanding. So the art has always been a part of me, but I think the major component of that is that as an individual and as a man, I grew, spiritually and emotionally, into a deep appreciation for just life in general and inspire people. I think that's the most important because, artists, you have so many amazing artists, right? Like these artists that's even like better than me. I see some art that blows my mind and I'm an artist and I think I'm pretty good, right? But I think that connection and understanding how you can put something positive in the world and inspire somebody, even if they're not an artist, just to go for their dreams. I think that's the most important thing that coincides with my art for me.
If you had to explain your art to someone, like how would you explain it? Like what do you paint? What inspires you?
If I had to explain it, I explain it like this. I call it pop urban art.
Okay.
So that's like what I said earlier. That's a mixture of like fine art influences, street art, and pop art. Like when I was younger, my parents put me into some art lessons as a child, and I would do like these raccoons and like these milk cartons. Just kind of learning structure and concept and where things go, light. How light hits a picture and like all these different things, right?
Yeah.
So I was blessed enough that my parents, did that for me. So I had that in my arsenal as well. So I always like to do street art and the graffiti, but I'll be able to mash all those together. So I just get inspired by things I see. I love colors. I used to ride the train going up to New York. I used to see all the beautiful like colors on the train. It's graffiti, and I'm always attracted to color, right? So color has always been something that I love to do, and I'll use every color. If I have like 10 paint cans, I'll use every color. Like I'll put this with there. I'm gonna fit these colors in somehow, and I think that's what gives me people to look at my work, because even if you don't necessarily like my style of artwork, because I think everybody has different styles of artwork they like, right? You just got to find your audience. You're not going to be able to look away. It's not going to grab you. It's going to grab you. You're going to look at it like, wow, like that's different. Like, okay, I see where you're going with that. Okay, cool. And then you might say, oh, you know what? Let me go check them out. Not really my style, but let me go check them out. Like, and I think that's the thing where people, when it comes to art and colors and stuff, I think people sometimes need to really like see what you're doing, and you like I said earlier, like spell it out for them. Like, okay, this is what I'm doing, and then it's up to you, like, So I think that's an amazing thing. Yeah.
Have you had a lot of people commission you to do pieces for them?
Yes, I've done. Since the Bench Project, I've done maybe 10 to 15 wall murals.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it just went like boom, 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 boom. Like it's so cool because I'm doing private homes, private residence, and commercial residence. I've been sponsored by Gunn Edwards Paint in collaboration with them. I've been able to work with the Boys and Girls Club, Porsche, just like all these really cool companies, just based off of I'm just putting my art out there and using color, and people just like, wow, this is something different. And it has a lot of the East flair to it too, right? Because a lot of my inspiration comes from that New York, 70s, 80s art style, right? So I'm able to come to California and kind of mesh those worlds together. So I think it's something different and it's finally, people are finally getting it. Like, okay, I know where Tyson's going with that.
Yeah,
so
and appreciate.
It's been amazing right there. I've had a lot of commissions, a lot of people, asking about my art. I even do commissions on canvases. I did commissions on clothes before, just whatever I could, on masks and different things like that. So
what's the process of doing like a wall mural? Because I feel like that's just such a big task. Like, how do you just wrap your brain around like you covering this whole wall?
You know, it's I mean, when I did my first one, it was very intimidating at first because you're taking something to put in in a large space versus a canvas.
Right.
You have this large space. So a lot of people don't know this and don't understand this, but just the prep work alone to do a wall mural, like getting it set up to even put sketch or paint on it, you have to sand it. The wall has to be even. You have to put primer. It's like this whole ordeal, right? Just to get it ready to paint. Then you can either you can graph it out, and then you got to sketch, back up, look at it, make sure everything's proportioned right. You might have to move some things over. It's definitely a process, but I think that the beauty of it is once you get past the initial stage of starting and you get in like a couple of days in, then it's like you just keep going. Like you don't think about it, you just kind of keep going. Then when you look up, you back up and be like, wow, I did this. Like sometimes sometimes I'll even amaze myself. Like I'll be working on it on like 10 hours straight, right? And then I'll come back the next day to where I'm working and on the project, and I'll be like, damn, I did that?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so trippy to me, like, wow, like this is incredible. This is amazing. Like I'm able to focus and get this thing done. So it's like just the universe and power just working through me to get this out there. So
how long does
I think anybody can do it? It depends on the size of the mural. Like I've done some that's about 40 feet long, 10 feet high. I've done some that's 6 feet, 8 feet. It just depends on the size of the mural and the complexity of it and the detail of it. Some I've taken 2 weeks to 3 weeks to do. Some I've done in 2 days, 3 days.
Gotcha.
Just depends on detail goes. And I've done water tanks, and like I was out in Joshua Tree. I did this big water tank. That was different. I've done a lot of walls where other artists said they couldn't, muralists said they couldn't do. I'll take on any task.
Yeah.
I mean, I can do it. Yeah. I will figure it out. So I've done like all these different things. So I think, it's really cool. It just depends on the size, what the object is. Is it a flat wall? Is it a water tank? Is it a electrical box? Is it a park bench? Whatever it is, then you work it from there.
Gotcha. Okay. Water tank. I don't know if I'm climbing up there.
You'll be working all day on it. Doesn't be working all day on it though. Like, you're gonna be sun up the sun. You're gonna be So I bring a little cooler and my food in there, my drinks to stay hydrated.
Yeah.
I gotta have a bathroom. So then I'm just there. Music on, going. Yeah.
Get in the vibe and the zone.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so cool. So from here, where would you like the Tysen Knight name to go?
I just, the thing about this, I had a screening, an exhibition Friday, and I got asked the same question. I just like the way it's going. Like I've learned to, trust the process, right? Like, every time I plan something or want something to go a certain way, it never works out for me. But when I just do the work, and I'm present and I show up and I'm a man of my word and I do what needs to be done and be diligent about it, it always finds its place. So what I'm gonna say is, to answer that question, I'm just gonna continue to do the work, keep the morality high, have integrity, and just work at it and keep going and let it fall where it's gonna fall. And I just have faith that it's gonna keep continuing to go in that direction. I just plan to do good work.
Yeah.
And be a decent human. That's what I plan to do. I'm gonna let everything else just.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So do you have any documentaries coming up? I mean, you did too. I was thinking like, too bad you didn't record yourself teaching them how to do all that stuff for the bench project.
Yeah.
But do you have any other documentaries in your mind that you would like to do?
I was thinking about doing a documentary, but I just had one done on me by Visit Palm Springs, and they kind of went into detail. They were invited to the school I worked at. I was doing a wall mural with children. So other people have done documentaries on me.
Cool.
I'm not going to say yes, I'm going to do another documentary, but I'm not going to say no, because you kind of never know. Like, right, like I said, I'm just going to let everything work itself out. I'm just going to continue to do the work. So I'm open to if that opportunity, presents itself. Right now, I don't see that right now, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be something in the future. So yeah, I would, if it came about, I would definitely do it. I love doing film. And it's funny because when I used to do the modeling and acting, I would be on these sets, and I would like be more intrigued about what's going on behind the camera. Like, how's that work? How are they doing that? Oh, your scene is up. Oh, okay, cool. Let me get it by scene, right? So I took a little bit of that knowledge, and that's how I was able to kind of create this film. So yeah, I'm just a student of the game. I just want to soak up as much as I can and just kind of use whatever I can use to make things happen.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. So I know you said that you are inspired by Basquiat and some other people. What is it about them that inspires you? Like, what is it about their art and their story that kind of has influenced you as an artist?
Everything they have in common is that they were disruptors. And what I mean by that, they had enough self-belief to believe in their own abilities and their style of artwork. To me, that is an incredible thing, because as an artist, you have to be able to take a lot of criticism.
Mm-hmm.
That's one, because everybody's going to tell you how your art should be, what's going to sell, what's not going to sell. And those artists there, they played by their own rules, and they were right, and they got it right. And that's what inspires me about them. They believed in what they were doing. They knew what they were doing was special, and they made it happen.
Yeah.
Basquiat, he had this style of painting. It was very political in his artwork, and really was just doing these crude drawings, and just like he would paint on refrigerator doors and tires and like whatever he could. Like,
yeah.
And now we see the creative genius of Basquiat all these years later has artwork is selling for millions of dollars, right? And it's just, but back then people weren't really taken to it until he, forged his way through. Andy Warhol the same way. Andy Warhol to me is just like the social media before social media. Like everything that's going on social media now, Andy Warhol was doing back then, like silk screening and painting, doing these celebrity paintings and doing like that was all like he was so much ahead of his time.
Right.
And then you had like Keith Haring, all these other guys. So that's what I like, that these guys really were disruptors. They brought in a new genre of art. It took on, people got it, and now they have birthed all these other artists that's trying to follow in their footsteps.
Yeah.
To me, that's major. And they've been gone for 20-some odd years, and their influence is still here.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So that's what inspires me about them.
I love it.
Yeah.
Now, could you see yourself like having your art, in major stores, on clothing, any kind of textiles, maybe like some, I don't know, lifestyle brand? Do you want to go past just the canvas, or you good with just, keeping your art?
Like I said earlier, I'm just gonna let, I'm just gonna let it, let's do the work, and once things, are presented to me, I'll just, make those decisions at that time. Because to me, it has to feel right too.
Yeah.
Like just when I'm getting presented with something, it has to feel right. Like I don't want to do something just to do it, right? I want to do it because it's gonna have a purpose. Like I got to stay in that purpose thing.
Right.
Right. So, yeah, like if it comes and if the timing is right and it feels right, I don't see an issue with it. I mean, I'm gonna explore it, because then I could, I'm real big on building legacies and footprints for other people to follow in that when I'm not here anymore, right? So I'm real big on that. So whoever that manifest is, and wherever I can make the proper decisions that make sense and feels good in my heart, mind, body, and soul, then I'll do that.
Gotcha. Well, I know that there's a lot of artists that I've seen lately who like have lines in Target. I mean, a lot of people that I interview honestly have products in Target just because it's just how things go in my world right now. But I would personally would love to see, you know, me walk into Target and there's a display with like your canvases and, you know, your prints right there and a pillow that I could buy that has like all these beautiful colors on it. I know you're not going to look, but Target does have like, I feel like they need to pay me. But they have this like, they have a program for Black entrepreneurs who are looking to get into stores. I know they have like this whole, I don't know what you want to call it, incentive or whatever, that they have like 40% of all their products are going to be Black owned or other than white people owned in their stores. But even if it was just, you know, California or something, I personally think that would be cool. I like to, you know, make connections and mend things together for people. So I will send you the link for, you know, their program. I'm serious because why not? Like, hey,
well, see, that's interview. I didn't mean to cut you off, but see, that's what I'm talking about, how that came organically, right? Like, you're going to send me that link. So then that's today, like this whole conversation, this whole interview, how you reached out and then now we're here speaking, right? And changing this beautiful energy, right? And then you send me the link. See, that's how I let things happen. I didn't plan that. That's just manifesting. That's what I'm talking about. Like, that's cool. Like, so I appreciate that. Like, that's
and
really
I
cool.
mean, like, I was, you know, talking to some of my friends, and I don't know if you know who Tabitha Brown is, but she's like a big vegan, you know, has a restaurant somewhere in California, and just big social media influencer. And she just signed a deal with Target. So she just dropped
we did I'm saying to cut you off. We did a film together.
Oh, cool.
House Arrest.
Okay.
I played her love interest. Yeah, I played her boyfriend. She actually was, you know, Tabitha's really cool. She actually was the reason I got casted in this film.
Wow.
And this is back in like 6. Okay. So yeah, me and her, we I think Tabitha's real cool. I'm glad that she's doing such amazing things, you know. It's really cool. Did a film
but she has like 3 drops with Target. She did a clothing, she just did a lifestyle last weekend. But like when I was looking at her stuff and preparing for today, I'm like, I could definitely see like your paintings on a mug or a pillow or, you know, on a towel or something. Not that you want to do all that type of stuff, but I'm just saying, like, I could definitely see.
Like, it makes, I mean, I think you're right. It's all about expanding and growing, you know, growing your business. So that does make sense. And like, present it to me, I'll explore it. If it feels right.
Exactly. So, and I mean, from the other, you know, people that I know from Target, they're very good about helping you through the process. So, you know, making the stuff themselves, like as opposed to you having to have a manufacturer. They'll have it, and then they'll say like, we're only going to sell, you know, 200 pieces throughout the country and see how that goes, and then we'll go from there or something. So
I love it.
Yeah, it's it's a good program to be a part of. I know they teach you about business, and it's like a whole cohort of people that are Black business owners that go through this program. So it's like different. I know there's different programs that they have within the Target Black owned business thing. So, but I will shoot you that link.
I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate that. Like, that sounds like something amazing that I should really look at and
because your stuff is so like eye catching that if it was in the store, you know what I mean? Like, I know I would be drawn to that. Like, oh, what is that? It's so bright and colorful, and like it's just happy. Like it looks happy, your art. So I definitely think it would be an eye catcher.
Absolutely. Send me that link. I appreciate that for sure.
Definitely will. So before we wrap up, please give everybody information on how they can find you on social media or websites in your local area so that we can connect with you once this episode is up.
Hey everyone, hopefully we can connect. You can find me on all social media platforms at Tysen Knight. So that's TYSEN KNIGHT is Tysen with an E. So Tysen Knight on all platforms. That's, all social media platforms. My website, TysenKnight.com, my YouTube channel, my emails, info@TysenKnight.com. You can reach me tons of ways. I'm out here. I'm out here making it happen.
Yes, and making amazing art in the process. So I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out this evening to have a chat with me. I really look forward to where things go for you, whether it be art or otherwise. I've been enjoying the process of just watching, your art evolve over the past couple of years through social media. So it's been amazing.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much for reaching out and inviting me to your platform because, you're a part of my journey now. It's all these things, like all these building blocks, right? Like so many people help me in my journey, and now I can add you to the list. Someone helping on my journey, right?
Glad I can be a part of it.
Absolutely. I'm glad you are too.
All right. So definitely though, I will be in contact with you, send you the link for the target cohorts and all that information. Okay. There's a couple other ones that I know too that I'll send you that really like help you with like the business part of, taking your stuff to the next level. So
let's do it.
All right. And if I'm ever in Palm Springs, I will hit you up and we can hang out or something. I mean, I don't know when I'm going to get out there, but you never know.
I can show you some of the like really cool like art stuff, art installations and stuff like that. Like we got an amazing museum and like so much really cool like things you can do. Yeah, that'd be cool. So
yeah, and if you're ever in Houston, hit me up. I mean, we have a pretty good art scene here. I mean, you probably haven't been here in a while, but it's actually pretty booming, little scene now. And like over by U of H, like that Project Row House is pretty much like all art installations. Well, all right. So we'll definitely keep in contact with each other. Again, I'm so proud of you. Love all of what you're doing. And I really can't wait to see where you go from here.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I can't wait as well. The journey is like the most important part. The destination is the journey is where the magic and the heart is. So yeah.
Exactly. All right. I'll talk to you later.
See you later.
Bye. And that's a wrap on another amazing episode. I know that you were just as inspired as I was after listening to that conversation. And to let us know how we're doing, don't forget to leave us a review, like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You can also follow us on all social media platforms, from YouTube to Facebook, at The Color of Influence, and on Instagram, the_color_of_influence. You can check out all of our episodes and additional content on our website, thecolorofinfluence.com, and that's an N only for influence. And don't forget to share the podcast with someone you know and have them share the podcast with someone they know. Thank you all for listening. Until next time, peace out.